"Who are you?" he said. "My name is Nancy Drew. I'm a friend of your mom's." It was a stretch, but I hoped it would make things less awkward. "She asked me to help with your case." Walker sighed. "I wish she'd stop." "She loves you. She wants to get you out of here." "I know, but it's pointless. I'm not going anywhere. Not till I serve every day of my sentence." "Did you do it?" I asked. "No." "Well then, let me prove it." "No offense, but you look pretty young to be a detective. I mean, you look even younger than me. Why should I believe you can help me when my lawyer, who's like 30 and has represented hundreds of people, could barely do anything?" "I understand that you've been let down a lot, but my age can be an advantage. People underestimate me, so they drop their guard. Besides, what do you have to lose? I just need 15 minutes of your time, and it doesn't appear that you have anything better to do right now." Walker shrugged. I wasn't sure I'd convinced him, but at least he wasn't leaving. "All right. What do you want to know?" "Walk me through what happened the day of the burglary. I know it was a long time ago, but try to be as detailed as possible. There might be something someone overlooked that will help me." "I was really tired. I'd been up super late the night before working on a paper for my American literature class. The professor was one of my favorites, and I really wanted to impress him. Work that day had been tough. Everyone could see I was dragging. My plan had been to go home as soon as my shift ended, shovel some food in my mouth, and pass out. I was hoping to sleep for 12 hours minimum." "And you told the people you worked with about your plans?" "Yeah," Walker said. "It was a Friday, so we were talking about our weekends." I nodded. "So anyone you worked with would have known you wouldn't have an alibi that night?" "Yeah." "Okay. Tell me about your coworkers." "Forever Diamonds is a pretty small place. There were only 3 of us plus the owner. That day I'd been working with Ruby. Mr. Bowen, the owner, was in the back office going over the books or something like that. I barely saw him. Out front, things were pretty slow, so Ruby and I were chatting to pass the time. Nothing out of the ordinary. She was complaining about her student loans." I perked up. "Ruby had money trouble?" "I don't know if trouble is the right word. She was stretched thin. She'd just graduated and had a mountain of debt, so she was doing everything she could to pay it off as fast as possible. Forever Diamonds wasn't her only job. She also babysat and drove for a car service." "So, would you say Ruby had motive then?" I asked. "Yeah, more than I did anyway. Frankly, that was the thing that really annoyed me about the police and lawyers. Out of everyone, I had no reason to want to steal the jewelry. I was living at home for free. My mom was paying my tuition, so all I needed to pay for was food, gas, and my phone. I wasn't getting rich working at Forever Diamonds, but I was making enough to live and even have a little fun, you know what I mean?" I nodded. I really wished I'd been able to bring in my notebook or phone so I could take notes. "What about your other coworker? Were they having any money problems?" "Henry? I don't know. He's a nice guy, but he almost never talked about himself. When we worked the same shift, our conversations were always about the Orioles or whatever movies were showing. We worked together for over a year, and I couldn't tell you where he grew up, how many siblings he has, or whether he'd even gone to college. It didn't seem like he lived lavishly, though. He'd bring lunch from home every day. He never went out to a restaurant or ordered food with us, but I don't know what was going on in his life." Walker paused, and his expression, which had been bored as he rattled off information he'd probably provided a dozen times, suddenly shifted. "There was one weird thing, though." "Oh?" I leaned forward. "Henry came into the store that day." "Why was that weird?" "He wasn't scheduled to work. We liked our jobs, at least I did, and even though we all complained, everyone seemed pretty happy there. Forever Diamonds was a good place to work, but it wasn't like we just came in and hung out on our days off. Henry said he was dropping in because he wanted to pick up his check, but that's also strange, because he was working the next day." So maybe he did have money troubles. Yeah, maybe. Walker leaned back in his chair. His eyes were brighter and more focused than when I had arrived, and he was gesturing with his hands more freely, like some energy was coming back to him. What about the owner? How was the store doing? Walker shook his head. Mr. Bowen was always pretty private about those numbers. I don't think it was doing great, but I don't think sales were so bad that he was looking at closing the doors or anything. But if you're trying to find a motive, Mr. Bowen had a solid alibi. I didn't know at the time, but he tripped at home that evening and got a concussion. He spent the night at urgent care. Great, that's very helpful. Is there anything you can tell me about the diamond rings that were stolen? Well, they were actually from a new ring designer. Mr. Bowen had never bought from them before. They were supposed to appeal more to the younger crowd. The pieces were kind of funky, in a good way, made for people who wanted to express their personality through their engagement rings. Lots of floral settings with inset diamonds and some cool geometric shapes, but also some even weirder ones, like one was shaped like a cat's paw, and there was even an octopus. Mr. Bowen only bought the one case. He wanted to see how well they sold. We were making a special display for them, and it wasn't ready yet, so they hadn't even gone out on the floor. They'd been in their bright yellow case in the safe for a week. Oh, that was the other thing. This jeweler used bright yellow cases instead of the usual black or blue ones. Everything that company did was advertising that they were different. Wait, wouldn't it be hard for the thief to resell the diamonds if they were that distinctive? I asked. Walker shrugged. Not really. The diamonds themselves weren't unique. It was the shapes of the settings that set these rings apart. The thief could just pop the diamonds out and they'd be good to go. I nodded. What about the security system? The police built their investigation around the fact that the alarm was turned off using your code. Walker brought his fist down onto his thigh with a loud smack. My eyes widened and I reached my hand out instinctively, even though I couldn't touch him through the glass. Across the room, the guard eyed Walker, and I worried that if he got any more agitated, our meeting would be cut off, and Walker would be whisked back to his cell. I'm almost done, I murmured. Just stay calm. Sorry. That whole thing just makes me so angry. The police acted like my code was this smoking gun leading them straight to me, but it was nothing. I don't understand. Everyone knew my code. Mr. Bowen had master access to the alarm and could get anyone's code. Once when Henry was opening, he forgot his code and got locked out of the system trying to remember it, so he texted me for mine. And one day Ruby was bored, so she tried to guess all our codes based on what she knew about us. She figured mine out in under 5 minutes. It's my dad's birthday, so it wasn't super hard to work out. Walker slumped back in his seat, hanging his head. The energy I'd seen moments before was gone again. It just feels so unfair. No one even bothered trying to find out what really happened. I leaned toward the glass. It is unfair. The police should have investigated more thoroughly. Still, I hope I can do a better job than they did. I asked Walker a few more questions, but soon enough, a guard appeared behind Walker's chair. Time's up, he grunted. Walker stood. Thanks, Nancy, he said before hanging up the phone. I appreciate you trying, even if I don't think you'll get anywhere. As I watched him walk away, I realized what I'd said was true. The police and Chad Ford hadn't given Walker a fair shake. He deserved better. Proving his innocence wasn't just about saving my dad anymore. Walker needed someone on his side. As I collected my purse, I vowed that I'd do everything I could to discover the truth. Chapter 8. A Ruby Among the Diamonds. I met up with George and Bess at a coffee shop halfway between the prison and Forever Diamonds. I was ecstatic